slipped away. One street over where my memories exist. I wonder what would change. I really couldn't say. In this life there's nothing certain, except the curtain that rises to the stage. Silly games of second guessing. I just forget the lessons that I couldn't learn. Because one street over there's a life I could have known that would have kept me from the one I had today. Times gone by, I've traded like dirt into clay. I thought my memories would end. One street over's now 1,000 miles away. When I close my eyes, I'm back to where I've been. In this life there's nothing certain, except the curtain that rises to the stage. Silly games of second guessing. I just forget the lessons that I couldn't learn. Because one street over there's a life I could have known that would have kept me from the one I had today.
Good morning, how you doing? This is 1100 WS and this is one story over back at it. Yeah, thank you, LaVern. Actually, she covered a couple of days. We were out from school on Tuesday, so I thought, I'm going to enjoy the day, and I took the day off, so she filled in for me, and later that day, actually, I started getting a bug on Monday night, so about all I did on Tuesday was go vote. And then she covered for me yesterday because, we're not supposed to go to school if you have a fever, kiddos. So I did yesterday, so I laid out, and thank you very much, Lee Marie, for watching over the show for me and taking care of it, and for holding down the ship. But I'm back, and I know I sound a little funny, but I promise you, I'm not contagious. Is they say, as long as you don't have a fever, you're not contagious, right? So anyway, I'm back at it. So glad to be here, you guys, and so thankful again for Lee Marie for helping me out. And so thankful for my guest today because one of my students is in the house. Naday is here. Hi, sweetheart. How are you doing?
Good. How are you doing?
I'm so glad. I'm so good, and I'm so glad to see you. When Barbara called me and she said, "I want to bring in one of the students," and when they told me you were coming, I was like, "Of course she is," because she was awesome, and I got to have her in my class from last semester. Naday is from Indonesia, and she is. How much longer are you? You're heading home when?
About 4 months.
Oh, so you've still got 4 months. Okay.
Yes.
Good. So you're going to finish out because you would technically be a senior, right? Okay. So what would you have to do to finish up back home? Because are you going to graduate with our guys?
Not graduate, but I might be able to walk.
Yay.
With the class, but I'm still not sure. I'm still figuring that out.
Okay.
But when I come back home, I still have to redo my 12th grade.
Oh, okay.
So this kind of counts as a gap year.
Okay, for you back home.
Yeah.
Okay. One of the coolest things we did in class, and we'll talk to you guys in a minute. I just want to visit with Naday because I haven't had her all year. I see her in the hall, and I miss having her in class because it was so much fun. Because one of the days that we were always trying to keep the kids off the computers doing the things that they're not supposed to be doing on other websites. And one of the kids, I'm like, "What are you doing?" And they were actually on Google Maps.
Oh, yeah.
And they were walking around James.
Yeah, James.
And I was like, okay, that's cool. That's cool. And then you took us into your school back in Indonesia, and they're like, there's my dorm, and there's this. And that was so cool, seeing where you went to school.
Yeah.
Will you go back there?
Yeah. That's where I will finish my
cool?
12th grade.
That is so cool. You're just so fascinating to me because when Barbara, hello, Barbara, let her have the mic and say hello. How are you doing?
Good morning.
Good morning. When Barbara told me that we were getting a foreign exchange student, I was like, oh, let her be in my class. And I was so excited that I had Naday in my class. And now, David, you need to say hello as well. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Good to be here.
And we're so thankful to have you guys because I was not really aware of what happened with the foreign exchange program until, 4 or 5 years ago. I was at a Willow Oak, the arts event, and I think I met Becky there. and found out about what's going on through AFS, and then got to be friends with Barbara. And now you've been in before, haven't you? Have you been on the radio show with me before?
I don't think I've been on the radio show. One of my students, about 12 to 14 years ago, was on the radio station. I may have dropped her off, but I wasn't on the radio station.
Okay.
But I've been around Greenbrier for forever.
Yeah, Barbara was trying to connect you to the Fries and all that. She's like, well, we're trying to figure out who's kin to who, because you know how that is around here. We're all related, it seems like. But now, how many kids have you hosted? How many students?
I've hosted 13 since 1999.
That is so cool. And Barbara, how many have you hosted? I was looking at the picture of all her family.
12.
Look at this.
12.
He beat you. We were just talking about that.
Yeah. This student.
Naday makes his 13th, so he's ahead.
Yeah, he took a little bit of a reprieve.
Okay.
I did. There was probably about 6 to 8 years that I actually took care of my mother.
Okay.
And kept me from being able to host.
Okay. So, and I love listening to Naday talk about what she does with her host family, and and it's just neat. Of course, we had the excitement of the tornado. We were like, oh my gosh, because she was telling me y'all almost went to the place that got the roof torn off, and then y'all ended up going somewhere else. But
we stopped and thought that might be the place we were going to, and ended up in the building behind that.
Yeah, so it's just all kinds of wild stories you get to share when you get home. I tell you what, let's send it back over to Naday, because I told her she emailed me last night and was like, "What do we need to talk about?" I said, "Okay, so what has been your experience, because you got here in the fall, and so what has been your favorite thing and the most difficult thing you've had to deal with?"
Okay. The most favorite thing, definitely is the people that I met so far.
We love
my
you
host
too.
family, my friends, the teachers. They're all amazing, and that I get to experience a lot of new stuff, like being on radio here.
There you go.
And seeing new places. We went to California, Milwaukee. It was really cool. So that's definitely one of my favorite things. And like just the little things that makes it different from my country,
Right.
Like the seasons change. That is one of the most like beautiful things that I've ever encountered. Because we don't have that. We don't have 4 seasons in my country. We only have like rain and the sun. So that's definitely really cool. And the most difficult thing, there's not much, but I think because I'm in quite a small school, it was difficult at first to make friends, because everybody kind of have their own circle already. So it takes a little bit more effort,
Yeah.
But because I'm in yearbook and my teachers and my friends there are really encouraging, and it became easier over time.
Well, and I know several students that are just, they're just intrigued by you. They're like, she's so cool.
Really?
Oh yeah. I won't tell you on the air who, but I think you probably figure it out.
Yeah.
But you can just tell that they're very interested in who you are and what you're about and all that kind of stuff. It's just intriguing because it's different, and so that's one thing. And I know Miss Grimes just like told you right from the very start. She's like, she's mine. And she pulled you right into your book, so it's a lot of fun. I love Miss Grimes. Yeah. So did you enjoy Renaissance?
Yes, and we actually went on a field trip yesterday for Renaissance.
I know. We're going to cover that in the news today. Miss Grimes sent me the little video, so we're going to, because we put together the news in the classroom, and we try to do 2 broadcasts a week, but we're doing 1 this week because of the short week. We try to do 1. Our goal is to do 1 on Tuesday and then on Friday to have for our homeroom, or what we call cat time. And so I sent out a thing yesterday to the teachers, and she sent me that right away. So we'll cover that. But yeah, I had some great pictures of you guys. Just kind of, and what people don't realize, we have a thing called Renaissance Rally that rewards kids for their academic achievements. And, there's all kinds of rewards for those that are athletic, and this is an academic and an attendance achievement thing. And the kids love it. And it, so many kids try to make it not cool, but it is the coolest thing, and it's exciting and it's fun. And y'all had a great time yesterday. So that's very good. Well, I love that. And I know you miss your family though back home. How big's your family back home?
I have 4 siblings.
Okay.
And with my mom and dad. So it's like, it's quite a big family.
Are you in the middle, youngest, oldest? Where are you?
I'm the second.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you got some young siblings back home. I know you got to be missing.
Yeah, I miss my baby brother the most, honestly.
I bet. Do y'all stay in communication? Because, well, because of our smartphones and all of that. I mean, and do you communicate via the messenger on Facebook?
We actually use WhatsApp.
Yeah, WhatsApp.
Yeah.
Okay. We use that down in Mexico a lot. So, there's all kinds of cool ways to communicate in other countries, guys. It's cool stuff. And I mean, my friends from Egypt, I'll go into their house and they'll have somebody back home up on the big screen talking to the whole family.
Yeah.
It's just so cool that we can do that.
And it's free.
But and it's free. Hand that back over to Barbara. We're going to let her and David talk for a minute. We've only got until 7:30, so we got a lot to cover. But I wanted you to meet today because I got to know her, and she's just precious. She's just so wonderful, and just a blessing. And one of my Egyptian friends is on here. How you doing, Miriam? I see her watching. But anyway, so we want to talk about AFS. What does AFS stand for? And why is it foreign exchange? Because it doesn't, you go, okay, foreign exchange, what is AFS US? What does that even mean? What does the acronym mean? I'm a teacher. What are the acronyms, right?
Well, first, AFS is American Field Service.
Right.
And they were the ambulance drivers back in World War I and World War II. Mm-hmm. That's basically how we got started because the guys came back, and unfortunately there were no women in that group, but they came back and said, we've met so many great people as we've picked up the dead and wounded during the war, that we feel people should be closer to each other and understand other cultures. We feel that that's going to make a more peaceful world. And so they got together and started our program. We've been around for 76 years now.
Oh, wow.
So,
and that's the thing. They said when we know a little bit about each other, then we get better, and we're better to each other.
Right. And our mission actually is AFS USA empowers people to become globally engaged citizens by delivering meaningful intercultural experiences that provide the knowledge and skills needed to help create a more just and peaceful world.
I love it. Very good.
So that tells you a little bit about our mission and a little bit about our history. Today, too, I'd like to say when you're talking about our exchange student, we couldn't continue if we didn't get more people to host.
Right.
So, folks who are listening should realize that, they may able to have one of these wonderful students as well, because that's basically where we are at this time of year, that we're looking for host families. And David and his family are going to be hosting again, which
oh my goodness, he's going to leave you in his dust, man.
That's right. He's going to be off and into the whatever. You're exactly right. But also, in regard to hosting, actually now the mini bios are all online.
Oh, okay. So that's where you start, kind of. You can go on and look at the bio and say, okay, that seems like a good fit for me,
Yeah, I have had couples go to two different computers and go look and come back in the middle, and they both came out with the same student. I don't know how you all do that when you decide.
Well, this year it was the way that we look at it and the way her parents both look at it. This was totally a God thing. It was out of the blue. AFS USA called me and asked if I would be interested, and I'm like, well, I hadn't even thought about it.
Oh.
But send me some information. And they sent us 2 bios, and she was one of them, and we hit it right off the bat. And my wife had talked earlier that day to one of our other exchange students, and the other exchange student asked my wife, where's your happy place? And she said, well, I think it's my grandchildren and my exchange students. And I didn't know anything about the conversation. I sent her the information, and she's like, this is weird.
That's right.
So y'all did the same kind of thing, you're
Yes,
on the
exactly.
same wavelength, right.
Awesome.
Right.
That is very cool. I love those stories. And I just can't say enough about how much I have enjoyed getting to know today and having her in the classroom. And I can't imagine what a blessing it'd be to have her in my house, But,
well, hopefully Greenbrier realizes that and will hopefully host some students next year.
Right.
As it's both of our old alma maters, we would love for them to continue to do that. They've had students before, but they've had a little lull too. that they haven't had students. So we hope that's also going to continue. And we also right now are interviewing students. It's almost at the end of those students who are going in the fall.
Okay.
Are going in the summer.
Okay.
We,
So people can still, if we've got some students that are interested in becoming foreign exchange students, then right now is the time to apply.
right. In fact, if they really want to apply in the future, like going to Japan, your applications have to be in October and you leave in March.
Oh, wow.
So in other words, if students are thinking about it even a year in advance or two, then they need to start planning to happen. Because this year we had several students that I've interviewed, some absolutely fabulous students. One, the only student ever to tell me he wants to be the president of the United States. And
There you go.
he wanted to go to Japan.
Okay.
He's not going because he wasn't fast enough to get his application completed,
Oh, okay.
which he learned.
Yeah.
So he's going to Argentina instead.
Okay, but he is going. Okay.
He is going. I mean, we've had to do that with a couple of our students because their applications were too late and they were already full. Because we make a deal. In other words, the U.S. makes a deal with the country. We're going to take 20. We're going to take 10. We're going to take whatever. And once that's met, that's it. They're not going to take any more.
Okay.
So that's why students who want to go really need to start thinking in the fall before the next year they want to go or the next summer they want to go. Okay. And there again, too, they can just go online and there's all the countries that they can look at and see how long they are, what the requirements are, because the requirements are not the same for every country. For instance, we have one student this year who has ADHD, and we do take students with some disabilities. And there again, the country sets how they will deal with that. So this young man, as long as everything is, we know what his medicine is, we know what that is, he could not go to the country he wanted to go to because they will not take a student who is taking that medication. But we found another great country, and they would take him. So, we're flexible.
Right.
If the students can be flexible. I mean, when I went as a global educator to Thailand, I wanted to go to China. Well, I didn't get to China, and I went to Thailand, and it worked. It worked just fine.
Right. You have to just, and God will open the doors for you. I mean, you just have to trust that the right doors will open up. I just think that's wonderful. But I tell you, let me pause and take a break, and then we'll reset and come back. I could probably give you guys an hour, but we've got United Way coming in, and we need to visit with them because so much is going on. They just finished, or they've been working on the Habitat for Humanity house that I know Tiffany got to work on last weekend. And so I can't wait to hear all about that. But let's pause for a minute and let's talk about Barry and Rebecca Richards with Exit Prime Realty. Let's get the name right. New name, same great team. They took their offices here in Springfield. Barry is the broker. On the downtown square, they have an office, and then they took the office from White House where Rebecca is an agent. They combined them for, again, another branch in the Exit team. Just an absolutely wonderful group to work with, but just a new name, Exit Prime Realty. If you want to connect with Rebecca and Barry Richards, you can do that. You can give Rebecca a call. 615-504-7425. You can find them at sellwithbecky.com, sellwithbecky.com, or buy.robertsoncounty.com. Again, that number is 615-504-7425. They specialize in Robertson County properties because they're Robertson Countyans. They're cross-Polanians. They've been there 28 plus years. But they also buy and sell in the surrounding counties and across the state line in Kentucky. They're expert at what they do, guys. And you've got Barry, who came out of a marketing background. I cannot say enough about that importance, especially when you're selling property, man. You have to have somebody that understands how to present it and get it out there and make sure it's seen in the absolute best light. Barry is your guy for that. So check them out today. Rebecca, one of the first in the area to be a seniors real estate specialist. You can connect with them. Google them online, Rebecca Richards, Exit Prime Realty, Barry Richards, Exit Prime Realty. You'll find all kinds of stuff about them. Put in the zip code that you're interested in moving to or the zip code that you're selling property in, and that's a good way to get started. No matter what your needs when it comes to real estate, check them out, Barry and Rebecca Richards, Exit Prime Realty. And be sure when you do talk to them, always please let them know that you turn and they will be at the Gilbert Station Bluegrass Festival. So we hope you'll be a part of it. All right, Miss Naday, take that microphone back. And what would you say to somebody? Say there's some kiddos here, and they're thinking, "Oh, I would really like to do this, but I don't know. It's a little freaky. I don't know if I can do that. I'm a little afraid." How would you tell people to get over? What would be the start if you Do you have friends at Greenbrier that are going, man, maybe I'd like to do that now?
Yes, actually,
Okay.
yeah. Some people are interested in knowing that there's a program like this, you know?
Yep.
And I'm just gonna say, there will always going to be something you learn from it.
Right.
It will never be a bad experience in overall.
Mm-hmm.
I definitely recommend it for anyone who is interested in being a part of another culture or being a part of the global environment in general. It's definitely a life-changing experience.
I love it. What do you plan to do with your, what are you going to do as far as your professional life? What is your plan?
I'm still kind of figuring that out.
Okay.
I'm still weighing out the options that I have and seeing what's going to be best for me. But I would say I definitely want to go to other countries as well.
Okay.
I would definitely go back here or visit another country, because once you go outside of your country, you will always want to see what's out there.
Yeah.
You know, so that's definitely what I know that I want to do.
Okay.
But for career-wise and study-wise, I'm still figuring that out.
Okay.
But I'm definitely thinking about getting scholarships again from other countries. But we'll see. It's definitely going to be harder, though, for universities. So,
Well, as far as how many countries have you visited? Or
this is my first
really?
ever,
Oh, wow. Okay.
being abroad.
Okay. I didn't realize that. I just assumed you were a seasoned traveler, but this was your first
I
experience.
travel a lot in my country, but
Okay.
outside, this is my first time.
Were your parents a little nervous about you leaving the country?
I would say definitely, but they don't really show it.
Mm-hmm.
Because they really encouraged me from the start, because this
Okay.
has been my dream.
Okay.
So they don't want me to feel like heavy leaving them.
They didn't want to hold you back.
Yes, exactly.
Okay. Okay. How old are you?
I'm 17.
I know, but I'm for everybody else because I've already gotten to know her. So anyway, but it's just been a wonderful experience. Like I said, we don't want you to go back. We want you to stay with us. But I know it's not, that's the hardest thing about teaching is these kids, when they're seniors. I've got some last year that I still miss, they'll drop in, and we're in the middle of 1,000 things. I had Shaylee, she came in and dropped in on me the other day, and I just didn't really have time to visit with her. But so many of the kiddos that you send them off into the world, and you just miss them, and you wonder about them. So you got to stay in touch.
Mm-hmm.
You do understand that, right? Okay, you better stay.
I
in
will,
touch
I
with us.
will.
Okay. What are we missing, guys? David, anything you would like to chime in here on? We're going to run out of time, and I want to visit with you a little bit more. What would you say to a host family?
It is actually on the front end of hosting. Before we ever hosted the first time, my thoughts were, I don't know these kids. I don't want a strange kid in my house. I've got 2 young kids in my house. I don't need them influenced by some stranger. Only to find out that one of the students our first student, he was in our house, and then he was in our house, and then he was in our house because he's a friend of our son's. And when he got displaced, he actually became our first exchange student.
Yeah.
And in that process, I learned that they are vented. They are there's a lot of background that's gone through as far as before they go to being a host student.
Mm-hmm.
They have to fill out the papers, and somebody knows them.
Yeah.
And it's not some random stranger. It's somebody that you are willing to have in your house.
Right.
And so there's a safety net there, if
Right.
you will.
Right.
So hosting is simple.
Mm-hmm.
You just have to plug yourself in.
You just have to say, you have to raise your hand and say, hey, I can do this.
And one of the things that I wrote about this year was, it's simple to sit down at the dinner table and have a field trip. You can go anywhere in the world by talking to your exchange student.
That's cool. That's a great.
And I've never been to Indonesia.
No, me either.
But you visited
my
some of
mind-
your other students.
My mind has been to Indonesia now.
Yeah.
And so that field trip can happen at your dinner table.
I love that. That's a great line right there, David. Have a field trip at your dinner table. Oh, y'all need to write that down and use that. I
that's
think
right.
that needs to be on a T-shirt.
Yeah, one other thing.
Come on.
One other thing I wanted to say about this young lady, we have scholarships for our students to go, and that's everything paid for, and a stipend each month. We finished that interviews in January, and we won't know that for another month or so, which students actually got that. But she's one of those yes students. And so our students should be encouraged to apply for those scholarships, because also, lucky, many of our past people have been very successful. So they have given us, I think it's over $1 million in this last year, to add to students who want to go. But maybe they didn't get the YES scholarship, didn't get the Nestle scholarship, but they still want to go. They can their families can fill out the FAST, which is like the FAFSA is for our colleges. But the families can fill that out. And then we can see how much we can supplement. So they're not necessarily applying for a particular scholarship. But we do have funds, and we still have funds this year to help students go. So there's still room, not many places, but if you go for a summer.
Yeah. For sure. And I think that's something that a lot of them don't realize is they think, well, I don't want to miss this year at school because they really enjoy what they're doing. You can go for a summer program. So you do not have to actually miss your school year.
And semester too.
Yeah, exactly. So,
and gap year, like she mentioned a few minutes ago, you can go after you've been. Now, for that, the universities love people who've gone on gap year. In fact, when I worked with admissions at UT, we put those in one pile. We didn't have the computer to do that then. And those people who had gone for a year and your SATs and your grades the same, they went in that pile. Those were your presidentials, because we know if they have been gone a year, taking care of themselves and done well, then they're going to do well for us at UT too.
Right.
Or any other university.
They understand what it's like to have to take care of themselves without mom and daddy standing over them.
Well, and for their future careers, an employer looks at that and says,
I can imagine.
"Oh, that is super." This person, matter of fact, our first exchange student again, he sells internationally for his company, and the reason he got that position, and that was years ago, he got that position because he had been a foreign exchange student. He had experience somewhere else as a young person, and that told him that, hey, he's willing to plug himself in.
Right.
One of the students from Nashville, who was at Hillsborough, went to Japan, and I won't go into the rest of it, but when he actually was at American University, he was limousинed to the White House, back and forth, and helped write the USA-Japan Peace Treaty.
Wow.
So
how cool is that? Yeah, you just never know. So you're not interested in politics, are you, Naday?
Not much.
Take that over there, because you've gotten to experience an election, because we've had the primary yesterday.
Yeah.
So, or day before yesterday, yeah. But so no politics for you?
I want to say I want to dive deep down into it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not right off the bat.
Yeah.
Because we've never had that conversation, but a lot of my kids do. Do you hear a lot of your classmates getting into the political world? Oh, yeah. It's a very, very, very big political year for us here in America. What are we missing, guys? We're down to a couple of minutes. Any parting thoughts before we finish up with you guys? Go ahead and hand it back to Barbara. There you go.
Well, the one thing is you may need to have the how to get in touch with us.
Oh yeah, let's do that.
So actually, if by email, it's AFSUSA.org/ if you want hosting, you go host. If you want study abroad, you go study abroad.
Okay.
If you want everything, you go impact. The same address.
Well, can you just go afsusa.org and
you
get
can
to the link?
You can.
Yeah. So that is afsusa.org. I'm reading it off your shirt. I don't have that great of a memory, but afsusa.org. If you have any interest at all in this, if you want to be a student that travels, if you want to host, be a host family, guys. What a wonderful thing. I'm not there yet, but I will get there. I've promised Barbara. I said I will eventually host. I just don't know when it'll happen. But what would you say to anybody that's considering it, David?
Our whole family enjoys it. Right now, we have a granddaughter that's she just turned 7, and her nowadays like two peas in a pod. They feed off of one another. Yeah, and it's just everybody around us. As I say, my community, which my community is my church. Yeah. My house, which we're both out of large families. There's a lot of people in my community.
Yeah.
and all my community gets to enjoy and gets to experience our exchange student.
Yeah,
And it's always a huge plus.
it's great. Huge blessing.
All of my granddaughters, they all thoroughly enjoy and could still communicate
Yeah.
with all the the past exchange students.
Well, what a world it opens up for them. I mean, just, doing mission work and things like that, having these relationships with the folks I do in other countries just through the mission field, just so breathtaking and so wonderful and all of those things. And if you've not done that, this is a way to get that exposure to other cultures and other countries right in your own home. Absolutely.
And that does work both ways.
Mm-hmm.
She gets to experience my thought
Right.
and my patterns as well as I do hers.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful. Slide it back. You any parting thoughts today before we finish up? I've got my other guest out in the waiting area.
If you're thinking of doing it, just do it.
Just do it.
Yeah. Definitely.
Stealing a catchphrase from Nike. Just do it.
Just do it.
Just do it, y'all.
Just one other thing. Beware, the student that I interviewed this time who's actually going to Argentina may be the president.
Uh-oh. Get ready. I need to know about this person. Is it a guy or a girl?
It's a guy.
It's a guy.
And he has wanted to since he was 2 years old, his grandmother said.
You got to introduce me to him. So,
He's a character.
when's he leaving?
He goes this summer to Argentina.
Well, let me try to get him in here before he leaves, and then we'll get him when he comes back.
He has worked with a lawyer in Clarksville since he was in the 8th grade.
Oh, I got to meet this kid. Got to meet this kid. I love it. Go ahead, Dave.
I'm all good.
Okay, well, good deal. Today, I will see you at school.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. You can share this with your family back home and say, hey, see, I was on the radio. Awesome. Thank you, guys. As you make your way out, and we'll let the Brian and Tiffany come on it. Thank you. I'll take this to school and share it with the kiddos, and we'll work on them today. We'll get a few. Very go. I hear you. Thank you guys for joining us, and thank you guys for joining us for One Street Over as we continue on. Of course, Brian and Tiffany are coming in here from United Way. Nadee's got to get going because the bell rings at 8, so she's got to get to school, so she's not late. But I have this special deal where I get to go in at 8:30 because that's my planning time, and so then I stay till 3:30. But anyway, you don't need to know all that. What you do need to know today is Veterans Motorplex is back on the schedule, y'all. We are so excited about having veterans back, and here's the deal. This weekend is their big banquet weekend. So no racing this weekend, but they will be racing very, very soon. We'll get the details from Jerry here very, very soon on exactly when you can start heading out that way. But it is a wonderful family-friendly environment. One of the big pluses is there's no alcohol there, guys. So you don't have to worry about going in and your kids, being around that. If you want to go and have a really good time, family-friendly environment, you cannot beat Veterans Motorplex. It is a $40 ticket. Will get in up to 6 kids and 2 adults. That is a great deal. They have that again this year, $40 ticket, up to 6 kids and 2 adults. They are just now getting started, guys. They will race through October, sometimes on into November, depending on the weather. Great time. We got out there a couple of times last year. I haven't got my grandson there yet, but this is the year. We're going to go, maybe just right as soon as they open up, depending on his schedule. We have to get on his schedule because he's busy. But we're going to get out to the Veterans Motorplex. It's the old Highland Rim Speedway. That's what we're talking about. If you want to find them on social media, you have to search Highland Rim Speedway. They had so many followers. They have like 20,000, almost 20,000 followers. They didn't want to change that, so they just changed the banner. You'll know you're at the right place, Veterans Motorplex. They changed the name when they took over ownership. But they are ready to go. It is a 1/4-mile high-banked asphalt bull ring is what they're describing it as. And last year we got to see the semis racing, and that was so stinking cool. The first time I went out there, I had no idea how exciting it was. They've got teenagers that'll get out there and race. It's a lot of fun. Veterans Motorplex, cannot say enough about it. Racing on Saturdays, starting this month and going through October. $40 ticket will get your whole family in, up to 6 kids and 2 adults for one ticket price. It's a great time. The banquet's this weekend, but racing will get started very, very soon out there. You stay tuned and we'll keep you up to date. This is Jerry from Coming Back On. If you want to say back to Hello. How are y'all doing? Good. Obviously, I'm not contagious. I know I sound funny, but I broke yesterday midday, so I'm good. But anyway.
Oh no.
Well, it's just that spring cold.
Everybody's had it.
got
Everybody's had it.
Yeah, I had something similar earlier in the week.
I've been doing so good though. I mean, I've been around all these kids and I haven't been getting sick. I've gotten close a few times, but this is the first time they got me. And it's like, come on, kids. You know, it's like, and so I stayed out yesterday and Lee Marie filled in for me and all those things.
You gotta try to be respectful of people, but at the same time, like it's been. Everybody's had it. I think we went 3 straight weeks with somebody in our house being sick, and it's just like, come on, man.
You just gotta get it over with and build up your immune system and all of those things, right? So,
Absolutely.
how was the build this weekend?
It was so good. It was, I don't know, Habitat for Humanity is one of those things I feel like everybody should get a chance to be a part of. And we had a great turnout on Saturday, and the weather just got more beautiful as the day went on. There was a little bit of mud at the beginning, but other than that, like it was great. We got a lot done. I don't know if you've driven by recently, but it's all framed up and they've wrapped the house and
your rafters are up.
My rafters. I built the fly rafters. Karen Shoemaker from BS Breworks and I built the fly rafters. That was our main post. I worked the saw, how to cut it at an angle and all the things. And so I felt pretty accomplished. I won't talk about how many screws I had to take out because there are a few, but he's like, we're having you build those with screws so that we can undo it. Anyway. Yeah. Easier because with nails it's a lot harder to pull out, so screws you just pull anyway. So yeah, we did. I mean, it was a lot of cutting and screwing, and I had like my hand, I thought I was gonna have a blister on my thumb, but it was good. It was really good. And now every time I drive by, I'm like, I helped with that.
Isn't that cool?
Yeah,
That's really cool.
It's so incredibly rewarding.
Have you ever done that type of work before? Like just specifically the type that they had you doing?
Not really. See, in my
I'm saying you didn't know, and
no, I didn't know how to do it.
A new skill.
I did. My husband usually, if I try to help him with a project, he says your job is to stand there and look pretty. So, yeah, I don't get to touch his saw, and so when somebody grabs you and says, "Here, do it this way," and shows you how to use their saw, it was very empowering. And here's the impact screwdriver, and you use that. And so yeah, it was amazing. It was really good.
I love it. So fun, so fun. But I saw your pictures and I thought, oh, that's great. I'm glad you got to do that.
Yeah, it was fantastic. So
and you brought your kiddo with you.
I did. My 17-year-old came with me, and he wasn't allowed to use the saw, which he goes, "Mom, I have way more experience on a saw than you do." And I'm like, I know it's all about the legal stuff.
Yeah.
So, but he hung up most of the outer insulation, like the big Pink Panther board things, and so he got to climb a ladder and nail that to the house. And the homeowner was there. She's a single mom with 2 daughters, and she works at Electrolux. She's amazing, and just as her house, we started with a cement pad on Saturday. Probably the most rewarding day I could ever imagine working on a build, because by the end of the day we had walls, and then by the end of Sunday we had a roof. And just watching her get more excited. We put up one of the walls and it had the window cut out, and I said, "That's gonna be your view." And so she's standing there looking out the window, and
that's so
anyway,
cool.
it's just kind of cool to watch as is her dreams of being a homeowner is actually happening right before our eyes. So.
That's so cool. I love it.
Will there be other opportunities to go out and do? Are they going to have other field days?
If anybody's interested, let me know. We can plug in. I know the next day, some of our volunteers that came on Saturday, it was a husband and wife, and they had a 17-year-old son and a 20-year-old daughter, and they said, "Well, can we come back tomorrow with our kids?" And I was like, "Well, ask Jeff Bennett." And so, they came back the next day on Sunday with their kids and decided that was the way they were going to worship that day. And
that's cool.
So they worshiped with their hands, building a house. Yep, absolutely. Yeah. So they got to do that as a family the next day, and I was a little jealous because that would be really cool to do as your whole family. So yeah, if you want to plug in, reach out to me, and I can reach out and see if there's any openings. I don't know what the volunteer situation is like for the rest, because that was the only day I was tasked for finding volunteers. Geneva, she works for Habitat. She's a volunteer coordinator, and she makes sure.
So when are they saying they're going to hand the keys over? Because they always do a presentation, where they hand the keys over.
He said it'll probably be. There's 8 build. Was it 8 build weekends?
Okay.
And they're every other week. No. Maybe 4 build weekends are every other week. Anyway, May-ish time.
May-ish,
Anyway,
okay.
yeah. So yeah, they're going through March and April. Or the builds are going through March and April. And so I think May is going to be the ribbon cutting. And so we're super excited about that.
I feel like I'm about to sneeze. See, I'm trying to catch it. I'm trying to, it's like, oh my gosh. Anyway, well, that's so cool. And I'm so excited to hear them. You know, and it's people just don't realize. My husband reached out yesterday. I've got a student that's needing housing. You know, what do I do? And I said, well, call Tiffany and she'll put you in. And then the first thing he did was get on 211.
Right.
You know, and start looking up resources and things
I know,
like
he
that.
texted me when I was driving, and so I didn't get to him right away. And then by the time I got to it, he's like, maybe I'll just give him 211. I'm like, that's a great idea. But also, you can call this number. So anyway, yeah.
But I mean, the people just don't realize one of the things is because the situation that they were talking about, and this is something we hear a lot through the Benevolent Center up in Madison, people are getting priced out of their homes because their landowner, their landlord is, because, you know, rent prices are going through the roof, then they are up in their rent and they can no longer afford it. They get into a situation where and so they're getting evicted. And that is happening every day. I mean, it is just astounding.
Or getting it sold out from under them because the owner's seeing they can make a quick buck. And you know what? There's nothing. I mean,
It's
if
their
it's
property.
an investment
Right.
for them, that's why they
Right.
got it in the first place.
Right.
This happened in Nashville over a decade ago or more. They were dealing with this with all the changing. And I think we're starting to see some of the effects of that in the outer counties now as well. And so it's a legit issue. Just housing in general. I mean, it's a hard issue for folks right now.
I see people all the time posting on Facebook, I'm looking for a place to rent. I need, a couple bedrooms because I got kids. I need to stay under $1,000. And everybody's like, go to Kentucky.
Yeah.
There's
way,
no
yeah.
place here that,
No.
and so that's what's happening. It's just pushing people farther and farther out. And then the problem just keeps growing farther and farther.
And it's just, if you can be a part of anything to help out in this, just, definitely check in, keep your ear to the ground on the Habitat build that's right next to the Isaiah house. So just a good opportunity if you want to be a part of that.
Absolutely. And a lot of people think that Habitat is a free house. It's not a free house. Like, well, I know they have to help build it. No, they actually buy it. They buy they pay for all the lumber, everything that goes into it. The advantage is Habitat is the lender. And they require that you go through budgeting classes, and they really help set that homeowner up financially, and then they buy it with an interest-free loan because Habitat doesn't do debt. They don't go into debt. So they lend the money and they're the ones that, are paying for it. So, and then the homeowner pays them back. So it's a loan, 30-year loan, but it is interest free. So that's a huge benefit, but it's not free. They're not just getting, people are like, oh, well, we don't want to give people things for free because then they just get dependent on it. Well, it's not free. In fact, Jeff Bennett said, I don't know if I could do the program. It's pretty rigorous. It's a pretty rigorous program. And so, but yeah, and then because they hold the loan, if you go to sell, then they have the right to buy it back, but you don't give it back to Habitat they can buy it back from you. So they do get all the equity that they've put into the house. So.
Well, see, and I had that situation with one of my Egyptian friends, and they started, their financial situation changed, and so they were able to move, and so they had to step away from the house. And I don't really know how all that worked because they were only in it for about 4 years. And so, but they were glad to hand it back off, and then it benefited another family.
Yeah.
But, it's just a great program. And I know we could talk for a while about this, but I know there's other things we probably need to move on to. What else do you have that we need to cover today?
That's a good question. What else do we have, Brian?
Vita.
We got Vita. We always have Vita.
Rounding down the stretch here for taxes. So
We are. Oh my gosh, we need to get ours done.
I got mine done earlier this week.
What?
Yeah, well, I got it handed to my accountant. Let's be real.
there you go.
Still,
I've had a tax professional for 30 years.
I remember you saying that you always have to file an extension. So way to go, be on top of it.
This year, because we did not get enough pulled out of our checks originally, and we're kind of behind, and we know we're going to be behind. We want to know exactly where we are so we can go to the IRS and go, okay, what do we need to do? Because you only get one opportunity to do that. And so we need to know exactly where we are so we can get all that caught up and then start fresh, because there's a little box you have to check. be careful about that, guys. If you change jobs, there's a little box. If you don't check it, if you're older, especially, they don't pull enough out of your check if you don't do that, because I don't have any dependents anymore. And so because that's changed, they just weren't pulling near enough out of my check. And so we had to fix that. And I think we probably are still going to have a little bit of an increase. But we needed to know exactly where we are. So we had to get that done. So, we can move forward and get all that cleaned up. So
the first year we've had to use something. We had some state stuff, and with my dad's passing and stuff we had to deal with, and I usually do it myself because it's pretty simple. And so we have an appointment set with someone, and I'm kind of bracing. It's probably not going to be a pretty scene. So
well, if you have a state, that's one thing, because we're dealing with my mother now. Next year I'll have that to deal with.
It's more complicated. That went above my pay grade there. So H&R Block can't guide me through that. Website,
don't go to H&R Block. Go to Vida. Vida is free, absolutely free. In fact, we got an all staff email the other day it was quoting one of our Vida participants. It's like, H&R Block owes me a lot of money. I paid them a lot of money for a lot of years, and they were just upset that they found out that after years and years of paying other people, they could have had it done for free. So
and the parameters are 70,000 and under. You completely free. You come in and you can do it there at
That's a good question, because I know I said 70,000 before,
right?
But
because that's you come into the office. They've got appointments through the Saturday before tax day. So I think the 13th, I think Lewis told me it was the 13th of April was their last day to work over at the central office. They're working at the central office over here. Where the school board and all of that, where all that lives on Couts is S Couts,
MS Couts.
MS Couts.
Yep.
And that's every Saturday through the Saturday before tax day. But if you're above 70, you can go online and it's still free.
Yep.
Right?
Yep. It's still free. So I know I linked those
last time. To walk
time.
you through it on the website if you're doing that.
It's a lot like TurboTax type of a thing, where they do walk. Yeah, they do walk you through it. Is my understanding, and so, so go ahead and use it. Please use it. The IRS wants to make this as simple as possible, and they're the ones that fund this grant, so that helps us to be able to do the work. So go get it done,
and don't be intimidated. I cannot say it again. I've said it many times. The folks that I have worked with at the IRS, sometimes it's hard to get in touch with them, could not be nicer. They want to help you, clean up your tax mess. And we didn't really have a mess. We just we should have had our tax preparer look at our things before we turned it in. And so nonetheless, it's good to have somebody that has eyes on it, that understands taxes. Don't just try to do it yourself. Think you understand it. You're probably leaving some money on the table, is the bottom line.
Absolutely.
Yeah, maximize your refund.
Yep.
I mean, that's money that's been paid in. That's money. I promise you, some of these slick business folks, they're maximizing their tax position. So you might as well, as just an individual, especially if you're a single parent or whatever, you should get every dollar you can get.
Absolutely.
We're going to stop and do one of our ads here, because I know the Myers guys. I just love talking about Katie and Perry Myers. I didn't get to talk about Mr. Perry's music on Tuesday, so I wanted to talk about him today, because the kiddos, and I'm going to talk about Katie as well, they're just cool, and they're sponsors of this program, and they've just got a lot of good stuff going on here in the community. Mr. Perry's music, they're going to have a showcase on Friday night with Coronium at Willow Oaks, and it's a $10 ticket, adults, and I forget what the price is for kiddos. I think it might be free for a certain age. I'll have to pull up to make sure. But you can go and hear these kiddos and do their show, A Night with Coronium, they're calling it. And what I love about it, one of the kids in the band is in my class, and he is so talented and he's so humble. And I'll get him, because it says, okay, the price is $10 for adults, children 12 and under, $5. So there you go. Cannot beat that. But it's so fun, because I'll get him to try to talk about what he does, and he just say he is real humble, but he's an amazing guitar player. And Perry will tell you this is the band that's just been the best they have done. And there's a bunch of them that are graduating. I know my student's not, and I don't have his permission to call him out, so I'm not going to, but he's got another year, but a whole bunch of them are graduating. So they want the kids to show off their talent and see what they've done. So come out and see them Friday night at Willow Oak. I'm going to do my best to get there. I'm going to try to be there, but that's going to be a lot of fun to see these kids. And if you've got a kid that wants to discover music, I know on Mr. Perry's page right now, they've got this kiddo that's learning to sing. If you've got a budding vocalist in your home, getting some training would be fabulous. I have sang and done music my whole life. I know musical training, as far as instruments, I had really good music teachers. Never had any vocal training. Would have loved to have had that. And you can get that with Mr. Perry's music. He does a little bit of everything, guys. No, a little bit, a lot of everything. Plays pretty much any instrument. I've never seen one that he's picked up he hadn't been able to play. Got great vocal talent. He is your guy. If you want to take and dip your toe in the water of what's going on musically with your kiddos, he is your guy. Go and talk to him about their summer camps. They're filling up quick if you want to get a kid in a summer camp. But it's a great way for your kids to just see if music is the path for them. And just, it used to be when we years ago, we didn't have all the distractions of our devices and things. Everybody played something. You had musical training was part of your education. And we have really set that aside. But I can't say enough. Go and check out Mr. Perry's music and reach out to them. You can email them at mrperryspringfield.com, mrperryspringfield.com, and just see what's possible for your kiddos in the music field. And we need to talk about Katie too, but anyway.
Well, I just checked my calendar. We're free Friday after the ribbon cutting at the skate park.
Oh, talk about that.
So yeah,
we'll
we got
talk about Katie in a minute.
Yeah, okay. But yeah, we got the ribbon cutting at 4:00 at the skate park. So anybody who wants to come out to that's going to be awesome. It's already being used. It's not like we don't already have people there. Somebody brought it up yesterday, and my son's like, I want to see it. So we drove by last night, and there are already people traveling from far to come visit our skate park. So and it's pretty neat. So yeah, come to that on Friday, and yeah.
Well, it's so funny because I had Terry in here on Monday.
And
have you seen that video he did from Springfield? I think last time I looked, it was at 15,000 views.
Oh,
I'm like, Hollywood, you just got that thing in front of the camera. But he was saying the same thing. He's like, well, we don't have the sod around, so we kind of want them to stay off of it, but they're not.
They're not.
No, was it muddy or was it looking okay?
No, it looked good. It was dusk when I drove by, so I wasn't really looking for that, but it looked like people were out there having fun, and so
that's very exciting.
Yeah, it's super exciting.
You're
so
a Kiwanis then.
I'm a Kiwanian.
Yeah.
I'll take all the credit, even though I came in at the last mile there. But yeah.
I'm just glad they finally did something in the community. We're
coming.
we're out there every day doing stuff.
I knew it was coming.
But they finally did something. So good job, Kiwanis.
Hey, how many Kiwanians showed up on Saturday to the Build versus Rotarians?
I'm not sure I was volunteering and coaching youth basketball with my time on Saturday.
So cute.
I was pouring into the community that way.
I'll tell you, it was zero.
Yeah.
You're so funny.
Zero.
I love it.
Yeah. We probably were doing a build in
There were three of us. You probably were. You were probably saving the world. Saving the world.
In all seriousness, very cool thing. Growing up around here, having stuff to do like that. I was not a skateboarder. Had a bunch of friends that were. That would have been awesome for them because they just had to find wherever they could go.
And they kept getting kicked out, probably.
They getting kicked out. Yeah. It was probably not really safe. It was on somebody else's property, all that good stuff. So having a designated place that they can go and do that. You're talking about, LaVern, like our devices and being, that's an outside activity. That's great exercise. It's fresh air. You're outside. It's camaraderie. You're skating with your friends. Really cool thing to do. So that's awesome you guys got that done because I know it was a lot of work with kidding around.
A lot of work and a lot of money, and it takes a while.
Shout out to them too for jumping in there with you guys on that and making it happen.
Yeah.
So.
It's free.
It's free.
It is free. It's
a beautiful
free
thing.
things
There's
for
a
kids
lot
to
of
do.
skate parks that aren't, guys, and ours is free. It's part of our park system here, and oh my goodness, it's free.
Yeah, get your kids out, get them involved, because I spent the last 2 days at the TCCY conference, which stands for Tennessee Commission on Children and Youth. And I felt so bad. This is the second year I've gone, and the woman who has to deliver the report on how our youth are doing, I just feel bad for her because she has to stand up there with this presence and not break down and cry as she reads the numbers because our children are not doing well in the state of Tennessee. We are on the bottom half on most numbers as far as drug use, suicide, violence. I mean, our kid reading levels, our kids aren't doing very good, and part of the reason is I really believe that we need more people pouring into our children, and we need more time outside and being active and away from our screens. I really think our screens, not just children's use of screens, but adults' use of screens, are really impacting our children. And I think it's, a lot of times, and I'm guilty of this. So I'm totally and completely preaching to myself here, but like my kids will walk in and want to talk to me and I'll be like, yeah, oh, how was that? As I'm checking an email or checking my bank account balance or, whatever. And I forget to put it down and look at them and touch them. And our kids are starving for physical touch and eye contact, and they don't know how to give it first. And so we have to make sure that we're doing that. So anyway, it was good because they gave us all the numbers, and then the rest of the conference with people speaking about what they're doing about those numbers. And there's so many people in Tennessee that are pouring into our children, and doing great things, and a lot of nonprofits that are popping up to help. In fact, I think they said that this might just be Davidson County, Epic Girl. I don't know if you've heard of them. Oh, you should have them on your show. Because we do have somebody from Epic Girl working in Robertson County, and I can connect you. Okay. But Epic Girl, they went in, they wanted to just empower girls to help them not get into situations where they're going to be trafficked, was kind of how it started. And it's morphed a little bit more into a ministry to youth and young women in the prison system or the juvenile justice system. And they've done some amazing things in that area that right now in Davidson County, there's not a long-term teenage female in the system. So there might be somebody there for a little bit there, but there's not somebody who's been in there long-term, which means that they're making a difference. They're making an impact. Right. Less girls are finding themselves in the juvenile justice system. And so we do have people doing that work here. Her name's Stacy, and anyway,
I have them in, and I may have met them. I can't remember, but I don't think so.
Yeah. So she serves with us on the Robertson County Prevention Coalition, because that is how we prevent children from walking that path, is by connecting with them, by pouring into them, by mentoring them. Children need connection and they need education, and those two things will help them to make better choices in their life. But if you don't feel loved, if you don't feel seen, if you don't feel cared about, you're going to do whatever it takes to get rid of the feelings of feeling invisible or abandoned or not important. So those are people doing amazing work in our community. And so just if you would like to be part of the work that's happening for our children, those experiencing homelessness, anybody that feels like they're otherized or forgotten, there's a place for you to plug in.
And you said that feel like they're what? Otherized?
Otherized. Like they're an other. There's us. We belong.
I haven't heard that.
We belong, and they're an other. It's
otherized.
We do that so often. Yeah. They're not one of me, so I don't have to worry about. They're not part of us. That's
otherized. Man,
I'll try to use that in a sentence today.
Okay.
I can work that in. I'm gonna impress somebody.
I'm not sure that's an official word.
I feel like you're otherizing me right now. I don't really like that.
I feel otherized.
I know what you meant, but yeah, I've never heard that either. So
that's great. Anything?
We do have one thing. We've got something coming up in April. United We Dine. We're going to be going out next week and getting some local restaurants and hopefully involved in this. We've already got several in the Nashville area, the Clarksville area, the Dixon area, and then we're going to begin working on Robertson County. But it's a chance on April 19th, which is a Friday. Most people go out to lunch that day. If you're working, it's just a good day to go out to lunch with some friends. 10% of the proceeds will go to the United Way here in Robertson County. Also a great way for our local restaurants. If you got somebody that's like, I'd like to try to drive some business my way, we will be pushing out social media. You'll get the full blitz for a very low investment, basically just 10% of your lunch sales. So I'm going to be putting that out there. We're going to go talk to some folks next week, I think, and go visit. United We Dine.
Like
So
Clarksville,
Clarksville's been doing it forever, been very successful. The restaurants love it because it gets them a lot of free exposure and gets a lot of people pushed towards there. Because people was like, well, I was going to go out to lunch anyway, and it's for a good cause. So may get you to try a place you hadn't tried to.
For sure. Tell you what, let me talk about Katie Did It Designs. I'm going to talk about she and Perry again tomorrow because he's got the show tomorrow night. Plus, I just really want to go and check out what Katie's doing. Katie Did It Designs. Love that they're helping sponsor the program, and I love the way they just pour into the community. They're just so busy in the community, and Katie's living her dream. She had wanted to be an entrepreneur, and she finally just stepped out on faith and just did it, and she's just doing a gangbusters business right now. She does beautiful work. you can see it. You go to Katie Did It Designs, Katie with a Y, Did It Designs, and you can see all these before and after pictures, just beautiful designs. And she's got something to fit every budget. If you're a do-it-yourselfer like myself, she can come in and she can give you all the links to all the things that you talk about and give you color recommendations and all of those things. If you don't quite need that, if you just need somebody to come in and consult with you, she can do that. She can customize a package for you, and they can do it from start to finish. They can do the demo and the rebuild. They can do it all, or they can do as little as you want them to do. She's going to give you a free estimate. You can reach out to her at katiediditdesigns.com, katiediditdesigns.com. Again, it's Katie with a Y, Did It Designs with an S, Katie Did It Designs. You can reach out to them and get on her schedule because, I mean, just beautiful stuff. When you go and check out her Facebook page, go to her website, number one, great logo. I love what she's doing. It looks great. She's doing wonderful stuff around town. So many people are talking about her work and what she's doing. You are going to be thrilled to work with Katie Myers. Katie Did It Designs. Katie Did It Designs. Reach out to them today, and be sure when you talk to she and Perry, let them know that you turned sent you. What else have we got before we wrap this
Well,
Oh,
I just want to give a shout out to my father's house. They've done some amazing things this year with not as they have like 20% of the volunteers doing 90% of the work. And so I know that they're getting burnt out. It's their last month. If there's any way that you can plug into my father's house, if you haven't been part of that ministry, it's amazingly beautiful process to be part of, to be able to be the hands and feet of Jesus Christ, or just serve your neighbor, serve where you stand, just reach out to somebody who's really struggling. So I just would love for anybody to be able to help carry them through to the finish line. They've got a month left of feeding and devoting their love and time to people who are down on their luck, who are really struggling. And our homeless situation in Robertson County is growing leaps and bounds. It's just like we've already talked about. Yeah. It's an unreal situation that we're finding ourselves in. And it's a very, very, little ministry done by very few people who are making a huge impact. And so anyway, I just want to encourage anybody to be able to plug in there. And
Charlene's on here right now.
She always is. She always is. They do great work.
We'll get them on soon because we want to talk to her about some of the things going on there, but we, to get a complete update. Because there's, some things as far as, trying to get all the regulations and all those things done. So I've invited her on a couple of times, but she hasn't wanted to come on just yet. But we will get her on. We'll work to get her on and give her a complete update on the whole situation there with how that, the zoning and all of those things.
Yeah, I think it's been a wonky season because of that, but they've absolutely devoted their not even just their waking moments, their sleeping moments, because they've been spending so many hours there. I mean, I don't know how many times they get to even sleep in their own beds, the volunteers there, and it's 100% volunteer ran. Yeah. So if you or your church or somebody can get a group together to go in and help relieve those that are weary. I know I was talking to another nonprofit executive director this morning. They're weary folks. They need some help. So we need to plug in and help out where we can with nonprofit work here in Robertson County.
Serve where you stand.
Serve where you stand.
Appreciate it. Any parting thoughts? We got to go. We're over time.
We're good. We're good.
Awesome. Thank you guys for joining us. Again, Brian Pulley and Tiffany Thompson from United Way. Reach out to them. All you got to do is just walk into the office or reach out to them at United Way. So you want to give them contact?
You can call me or text me. For some reason, my phone number just goes like straight to voicemail most of the time, but it's